All right, quick question. How long are you going to keep waiting until you feel ready? Because I'm going to tell you the truth. Ready is not a feeling that shows up at first. Ready is what happens when you've done it a few times, when you put in the work. Today, we're going to talk about doing things scared, doing things imperfect, doing things while your hands are still kind of shaking and you don't have a full plan of what you want to do, because that's the whole cheat code. Not confidence first, reps first. This episode is for the person who has ideas, has notes, has drafts, has voice memos, has half a camera roll of content they have not put out yet. But you keep pausing because you want it to be perfect. And I get it. Most people aren't scared of doing the thing. They're not scared to make content. They're scared of being seen doing the thing. You're not afraid to create. You're afraid somebody's going to catch you in the before. You want to show them the after, but you don't get to skip the before. Here's what perfection really is. Perfection is control. And control is usually trying to avoid shame. It's your mind going, if we make it flawless, nobody can say anything. But that's not how the internet works. And that's not how life works. Also, perfection is a moving goalpost. You hit it, then it moves. So you always have a reason to delay. And delaying, unfortunately, feels safe. But delaying is expensive. It costs you time. It costs you momentum. It costs you skills that you could be learning. So let me say this clean. Skills come from value. Confidence is not the entry fee. Confidence is not what you need to get started. Confidence is the reward of having started. You don't get confident, then start. You start, then your brain learns, oh, hey, we survived. Everything's good. This is not scary. Then that confidence starts to build. Not by thinking about it. You don't build confidence by constantly thinking of something. You build confidence by doing the damn thing. So, why do I believe that you need to do things scared and do things imperfect? Well, the number one reason is motion creates information. Sitting, not doing anything gives you zero data. You have no idea what's going to work, what's going to fail, because you haven't did shit yet. You could sit there for 6 months tweaking the script, changing the caption, adjusting the lighting, rewriting the hook. You still don't know what works because you didn't put it out. Posting gives you data. And data gives you direction. With that direction, you can start moving towards your goal rather than just fantasizing about it and thinking about it and wishing upon it and not having any data aside from other people's experience to further push you towards it. Reason number 2, skills show up after reps. It sounds simple, it sounds easy, but we all know this. When you play a sport in high school, you go to practice. In practice, you obtain skills because you're putting in reps to learn something new, to get something into your system, have something no longer be just a whim, but it's a habit. It's a routine. You could do it in your sleep. Your first 20 posts, even probably more than that, are practice. Your next 20 posts are pattern. Then you start getting power. Then you start getting skill sets. Then you start getting better. It's weird to me that people judge their first draft like it's the final form. Like, well, I put it out. It sucks. I'm done trying. That's like walking into the gym one time and being mad you don't look like a professional trainer. Like, how silly is that? You're supposed to be new. You're allowed to be new in public. You are allowed to show that before to the public and have people join you on your journey as you increase in skills, as you get better at your storytelling, as you get better at your editing, as you find your voice. That after is going to be crazy. And you're going to have a ton of people who are there for that, there to see you grow because they believe in whatever content you're making and they want to help you get to that point. So they understand that a video might not be as quote unquote perfect as it could be. You still put it out. And they appreciate that. And in time, you will appreciate that as well. Reason number 3 why you should do things scared. Fear gets loud when you keep feeding it attention. I'll say that again. Fear gets loud as hell when you keep feeding it attention. It gets quiet when you start moving. Fear is not a stop sign. Fear is activation, it's energy. Your mind reads fear like danger, but fear and danger are not the same thing. You can be scared and still be safe. Have you ever watched a horror movie? Did that not make you scared? But were you safe? Think about it. So let's talk about what actually matters. And what actually matters is clarity. Your audience doesn't need your flawless delivery. They need your clear point. Perfection is not a requirement for impact. And the more content you consume, the more people you see at the top, you perfectly understand perfection is not a requirement for impact. You can have impact and still show up imperfectly. Clarity is what's needed for impact. The more clear you are with your story, more clear you are with the content you're making, the bigger impact you are going to achieve. So remember, your content is not the final exam. It's not the last thing. It's not the end all be all. It's a conversation between you and your audience. Now, if you show up to different functions like cons or just house parties and you expect to be perfect, how anxious does that make you feel? It's a conversation. You go back and forth. You learn something. The next time you have a conversation, you might get better at displaying your thoughts, displaying how you feel, and you move on from there. And if we're being honest, perfection is often procrastination in a nice outfit. I hate to say it. I used to call myself a perfectionist for the longest until I fundamentally understood what perfection is, what perfectionism is. And it's just procrastination. It looks productive. It feels responsible, but it's still avoidance. If you keep preparing, but nothing is published, that's not preparation. That's you hiding. That's you thinking of excuses to not put out the content that part of you wants to put it out. The conscious mind wants you to put that content out. You had the idea pop into your head. You've seen what it could be, but your subconscious is like, whoa, 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 whoa. We never did this before. This is dangerous. Let's make it perfect so nobody makes fun of us. Procrastination, hiding in plain sight. So here's a simple rule. Give yourself 10 minutes to draft. Minute. When the timer ends, you either post it or schedule it. No extra fixing, no one more tweak. No, let me just make it cleaner. Post the fucking content. Post a draft. Then learn from the response. Upgrade on the next one. And that's the process. Give yourself 10 minutes. Post or schedule that content. Learn from your response that you get from the audience that sees it. Upgrade on the next one and continue that cycle until you get where you want to get. Here's the easiest structure to create a random post. If you have no structure to your post, I got you. Here it is. You're going to have one point, one example, one invitation. And that's it. So let me give you an example. So for one point, let's say I was making a content about doing it scared. The point would be do it scared. The example would be, let's say like last year, I posted something I hated and it ended up being the one that reached the most people. And the invitation is, hey, if you've been waiting to feel ready, fuck that. Post it today anyway. Stop trying to write a thesis for real. It's not that serious. I think the thing that we forget is, again, these pieces of content are conversations with our audience. If there's something that you didn't clearly explain in your video, that's what the comment section's for. I know we've been taught to think that the comment section is this terrible hell spawn of a space that only fucked up crazy shit happens. But as I've been creating content for the last, I don't even know how many years, I can count on two hands the amount of comments that have been questionable, anger inducing, because I don't expect that in my comment. It's not something I put energy into as far as my thought process goes. If I mess something up in the video, I know somebody in the comments is going to let me know or ask a question about something I said, because that's what I expect with my content. That's the intention of my content. If you feel weird about being imperfect, say it. Hey, I'm sharing this while I'm still learning it. That right there is honest. It's human and it's relatable. Also, it takes the pressure off trying to sound like an expert robot. Not an AI bot. You're not Chat GPT. You're not Gemini. You're not Bixby, you're not Siri, you're you. And there's so many people who have the same level of understanding and less that you have that are going to benefit from the content you put up. That is what you need to be telling yourself. Not there's somebody out there who is an expert in this and they're going to see my video and talk shit about me. We're not doing that. That does not drive us towards our goal. That is not useful thinking. That is a waste of energy. Here is a tiny thing you can do right before you hit post. It's super simple. It's super easy. You can do it every time you're about to post, and it goes like this. Slow breath out. And as you're letting that breath out in your head, all you're going to say is release. And that's it. Release the need to control how people respond. Release the need to be perfect. Release the need to be certain. You don't need to say all that. Just say release. Then hit publish. So I'm going to tell you a quick story about how I used to hate my voice. I could not stand my voice. So the first time I recorded myself and I listened back to what I sounded like, did not like it. But eventually I posted the content and I continued to post the content. And lo and behold, there is a entire plethora of people out there who love my voice, who have asked me to start doing audiobooks. And that just blew my mind. I'm like, what? I had no idea. I was being so harsh on myself and not putting this content out. There's so many pieces of content before that first one that I deleted that I didn't like the way I sounded. Now I love my voice. It's one of my strongest tools, I think. It's beautiful. It's amazing. And the lesson is always the same. The version of you that you're trying to protect by not posting the content is not the version that builds the life that you're looking for. You trying to be perfect for this unseasoned content creator who doesn't know their voice, who doesn't know their true audience, you delaying them making mistakes and learning from them, that protection is not going to get you to your goal any quicker. So let's do this. Let's reframe what imperfect means. Think in the minds of most people, imperfect means irresponsible. Well, fuck that. Imperfect does not mean irresponsible. Imperfect means in progress. And in progress is the only way anything becomes good. How many iterations of the iPhone have we had? Would you say the first phone they put out is the best one they had? No, of course not. They keep iterating on it, getting better and better and better. That's how your content is going to evolve. That's how you as a person is going to evolve. Make mistakes, get in there, be messy, learn from the mistakes, tweak what you need to tweak, and then do it again. I know this sounds real dumb, but you can edit a blank page. If you opened up your word processor of choice, I don't even know, do people still use Word or Google Docs? But if you opened it and you're like, oh, let me edit this brand new page, there's nothing on there to edit. You need to put the content on the page and then start editing. You can't learn from a post that you've never published. And that is as real as it gets. Also, let's be real for a second here. People might still judge you. Some people might have something slick to say, but that's not a reason to stay silent. I guarantee you, you know a number of people who would love nothing more for you to never say anything again. Are you going to let them dictate how you move in this life? I don't think so. Do you let those people dictate how you move in this life? No. In fact, you probably get a sense of like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? No, I'm doing this. Why not be like that with your content? And even if somebody doesn't like it, hey, guess what? You're still safe. You're still going to be here. And you still get to create content again tomorrow. So for all of the negative people out there who might talk shit about you or have something to say about your content, they don't pay your bills, they don't live your life, and they don't have the drive and the ideas and the passion that you have that is pushing you towards creating content. Most of the times when you see a negative comment from an end user, it's typically all about them. Especially if they're talking shit. They are directly telling you how they feel if they were doing the thing that you're doing, and they assume that's how you feel, because that's how we are. We like to look at people, prejudge them, have a story already made up in our head, but we don't know the truth. We can't predict other people's thought. Without asking them, without having a conversation with them, We're just making up fantasy stories in our head and then believing them and allowing those beliefs to dictate how we move through life, to dictate if we create content or not, to dictate if this is good enough to not get made fun of. Let go of that feeling. People want to make fun of you, fuck it. Let them. But you continue to do what you want. Continue to make the content. Continue to get better at your craft. And then when you are popular and making money hand over fist, you can go back to that person and be like, yo, fuck, I'm just playing. So let's do a quick recap. Fear means you care. Fear does not mean you need to stop immediately what you're doing. It's not a stop sign. Fear means you care. Rewrite that connection in your head right now. Fear means you care. Imperfect starts create skilled finishes. I'll say that again. Imperfect starts create skilled finishes. So you can be imperfect at the beginning as you're learning how to do the thing that you want to do. Confidence is on the other side of reps. Again, confidence is on the other side of reps. So the more reps you put in, confidence is going to build. Period. I remember the first time that I worked at this school was Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. It was my first real IT job, even though for the last 10 years prior to that, I was doing IT in the house, at the apartment, at the dorm. I was building my own computers. I was constantly looking up information on the latest technology. I was deep into the IT world. But because I never done it professionally, I let that eat at me for like a week before I got hired. I let it eat at me at the interview, even though for the longest, I was like, if I get an interview, I'm in there. I've never had an interview not go the way I wanted up until that point. So even with all that confidence, even with all those skills, I still let me not doing the thing that I was about to do fuck with my mental. And then at the end, that company wanted me to be the manager. They wanted me to be the team lead. All these glorious things because I was really good at my fucking job. Now, I'm not saying go into every situation super cocky or whatever, but know that if you don't know it, you will figure it out. When I started this podcast, I've been on plenty of podcasts, but I never owned a podcast myself. I never came up with a concept. I never came up with a schedule. I never edited a podcast. I never posted a podcast. I never scheduled a podcast to go live week after week after week. But when I started this, I knew that I wanted to do an episode a week and not miss a week, period. We're on 3 years, babe. 3 years. And you go listen to the first few, maybe 10 episodes, especially the first one. I fucked that one up hard. But I still did it. And I didn't let that fuck up deter me and stop me from creating more episodes. What are we, 121, 122? Every week since I started this podcast, I've been putting out an episode. Not because I started with confidence. I started with a want to create something and a desire to get better at it. I knew the only way to get better at it was to do it week in and week out. So post a draft, learn from the response, upgrade on the next one. So here's your challenge. Pick one thing you've been sitting on. One draft, one idea, one clip, one post, one song, one beat, one art piece, whatever it is. Give yourself 10 minutes and then put it out today. No, not next week. Now, when you have time, today. I feel like once you go through what you think is terrifying, if you're scared to do something, that's a sign for you to push even harder to get that thing done, because you need to prove to yourself, you need to let your subconscious know that once you're done with it, because you're going to get done with it, you're still safe. You're still alive. There was no danger. You keep doing those reps, and that little fear that is keeping you from creating content will go the fuck away. And if you want support while building that muscle, I got options. I have a quick and easy 5-day coaching program that is geared towards people who don't want to get on camera, who don't want to be on a phone call. Everything is done via text. You send me what you're going through, you send me your stucknesses, and then we work via text and voicemail for me to get you on the right track. Or if you want something deeper, I have a 90-minute call called Clear and Create, where again, you come to me with your stuckness. I want to be more consistent. or I'm feeling nervous anytime I'm about to start a live stream. All we're going to do is rewrite what your subconscious mind is thinking as danger, updated so your brain knows that, hey, this is what I want to do. This is actually exciting. And then we push through and get that shit done. Or if you want something deeper, ongoing support, I do have Creative Shift. 14 days, 2 weeks. It's 2 calls, plus you get texting, and we're going to create a document where we can share some information between each other. Not that I'd be holding your hand, but if you needed something to get off your chest, if you're in your head too much and you need a different perspective, boom, you hit me up and we get it done. If any of those sound appealing, there will be a link in the description of this episode, or DM me or email me. You'll find a way to get in contact with me, or go to the link in the description of this podcast and let's get that fear in check. You don't need to feel fearless. You just need to move. Do it scared, do it imperfect, and watch how fast your skills catch up. If you know any content creators who could benefit from conversations like these and more, please share the podcast with them. Upload and Unfiltered. I'm here every week. Brand new episode in regards to the mindset of a content creator. I'm on every podcast catcher of choice. If you haven't already, leave me a review, and there will be a link in this podcast episode, I believe. I'll have to double check, that you can send a message to me and I'll read it out loud on air and answer it for you. Other than that, I appreciate you for listening. Thank you as always. This is one of the highlights of my week in my content creation career. I love doing this podcast. I know I keep saying, yes, they're coming. They are. I need to get them here. But other than that, have a great rest of your week. And as always, protect your mental, keep creating content. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.